Buckeyes and friends. Shuffle up and stay a while. Here we go. Ooh. Oh yeah. Welcome to Buckeyes and friends. Shuffle up and stay a while. Here we go. Ooh. Oh yeah. Welcome to Buckeyes and friends. Shuffle up and stay a while. Here we go. Ooh. Oh yeah. Welcome to Buckeyes and friends. Shuffle up and stay a while. Here we go. Ooh. Oh yeah. Welcome to Buckeyes and friends. Shuffle up and stay a while. Here we go.
Alright, welcome everybody who either streaming or watching this later. We here with a recap of our second annual event, the Buckeye Present I Had Better Episode 2 recap. We had the top three people here to discuss this. So we had the third place finisher, who was me, D-Rob or David Robbins. We have this runner-up, Vern Lee. Do you want to give an introduction or some of your cool names or something?
Which way you want?
I mean, how are you feeling
Hey
today?
guys, it's Vern Lee, the chosen fool.
There you go. And then of course the champion, also a judge. That played no part in this, but Earl, do you have any cool names or introduction you want to go with today besides Zombie Earl?
That's it. That's all I got.
Okay. So yeah, so we're gonna do a recap of the tournament. We're gonna real quick go over what the tournament was, so people who not familiar with it know what we're talking about, and then we're gonna look over where people selected in the bracket, and then we'll go over each person draft picking, try to get in their heads and figure out what they were thinking or what they wasn't thinking when they make their picks. So it's pretty straightforward, and let's get going. So just a brief overview of the event. This was a double elimination tournament. You drafted two MCs, and you drafted a spot in the bracket. And basically the way this tournament worked, the two MCs you drafted was the only two MCs you played against. And I think people were still confused by the concept even after explaining it.
I agree. There were some interesting choices.
I mean, because like some people I think were picking MC like, oh, I think I could beat them, but they wasn't considering like, well, somebody else gonna be picking garbage MC for me to play.
Yeah, that could have been the case.
Yeah, like I could beat so and so if I got this MC, but you're not gonna get that MC. We're not gonna give you a Thor or Rogue or anybody like that. But we'll go and we'll talk more about that once we get to the breakdown. So just to let you know, we were only playing up to crossover 4 since there were like new cars coming out during the event. It would drastically change the power level of some of these characters if we didn't do this. So, but still, some people, I mean, well, more so with the photo. Like I said, at least like everybody knew not to play none of the House of X stuff. But since I was the only one, well, one of the two people who had a photo deck, there was still people sneaking in Disney Plus cars. Like, no, photo get a lot better with Disney Plus. And since I was playing against, I don't know, do y'all realize how good photo got since Disney Plus? And we're not even talking about what Mortal Kombat did to them yet, neither.
Ridiculous now. It's ridiculous.
Right, I don't think I would have picked the photo MC with the new car pool. That's just me. But moving right along, home run power. Basically, So besides limited what cards you could play, we had so you can't just use powerful powers just every game and just win. Like you can't just Kelly somebody every game and just win every game. So we had what we call home run power, where you can use that power up to 2 times in the tournament, but once you use it, then you couldn't use it no more, or it would just fizzle. And there's just a list of the powers. I don't think it got played nearly as much this event. I think you used one, Vern, right?
Yeah,
You didn't.
I used one. I used one.
Okay, Earl, did you use one?
No, I did not use one.
Okay, I didn't use one either. But every game I had some in my deck. There wasn't a game I didn't have, but because I was playing against the mirror, I already had to be mindful of parallel dimensions, so I had to pack something in there for that. But moving along, let's get to the meat of the tournament. So this is the final bracket. I didn't put the prediction bracket up there because it was just been in red.
We did not predict well. We did not predict.
I think we had Vern win the first game, Miss win the first game. We had PJ winning, and I think we had Jamal win. So, and we got the buys right, but it got real messy after that. But so I didn't put the judges in the places, so you see the places over here. So Vern came in first overall just because the judges didn't take a praise slot, and then Mix, PJ, Jose, James, and Jamal. So but let's get to the meat. Why we got the guests here. We want to hear some more Earl and Vern's opinion. So first of all, let's talk about people placement in the bracket. So Scott uh, Scott took the first bracket spot with A, which seemed like the obviously the best choice, and then Jason followed up with B. PJ took C. Rob took F, which I don't know why he didn't jump on D, but he took F for some reason. He might have some beef with PJ. And then so Vern, you took the last layer P. Obviously, you I guess you like the matchup with Scott in that case with the.
Hey, so I got to be real. I didn't realize I was taking the last spot when I took that. I thought I was taking a good spot. I was just I kind of like, because I took my MCs first, so I was kind of just looking for like the matchup. I did like the matchup, and that kind of was what got me to take it. But honestly, I didn't realize I was taking the worst spot when I did it. I just got to be honest.
Okay, no, like I said, this whole bracket thing I know is new, and there were some people out here like we were still rolling, see who go first up to like 2 and 3 rounds into the event. Like the priority already go to. Like, it's just something different we wanted to try. I think as more and more go on, most people will start picking up on this, but it's just something else to add to the draft, and that way we could determine who get buys without cheating somebody out, out to buy, or feel like somebody getting it, or we maxing somebody up with a teammate or something. Like basically you picking it. So, and Earl, they gave you a sweet slot. So the way we did the draft, we went by the Buckeye ranking table. So the lowest rank went first. So in round one, they went first, and then the highest person went first in round two, and then the lowest went first in round three. And then after all of that drafting happened, then the two judges drafted, starting with the lower, and we did the same snake approach. So they still left you a slot with nobody had picked. Earl, could you have believed that?
I didn't see that coming. That was pretty crazy. So I was able to get a buy because there was an open spot, so I just took it.
But yeah, I mean, I don't know. Like I said, this is still new to people, and like I said, seeing the bracket, because like I said, what you see on the screen is what people saw during the draft. So I mean, maybe like I said, it just may take a couple seasons before people pick up on that, right? I'm guessing. But I understand, Vern. I mean, the slot you took, I can't argue with that pick, but some of these other picks were very questionable when they happened. Like,
This ended up being questionable too.
huh?
I said this game ended up being questionable too.
Yeah. So we'll go through the game. We're gonna go mostly by wins and ranks when we go by. So basically, people picked the spot, and then we went from there. So let's go. We're going by the players now. So we're gonna go by each player, and we're gonna give our thoughts what the game plan was, and maybe what we thought about the matchup. So as you see on the screen, so we'll start with Ralph because he only played in one game. He ended up dropping from the tournament because he didn't like who so he wasn't at the draft. He sent me a list, and then he sent me a second list, and so we drafted based on his list. And Luke Cage was his number one on his list, and I think Sox Cops was like 3 or 4 on his list. And then after the first game, he messaged me saying, "Oh, I was supposed to send you another list with somebody else. I don't want like my character. I just want to drop." So he dropped. I mean, he was going into a buy, so I don't know why he dropped, but he chose to. But
Yeah. His number one on both lists he sent me. We
right,
drafted.
yes. So I mean, Luke Cage still is not a great MC, so I don't know why he still chose. Maybe life happens, that happens as well. But yeah, like I said, I know you already laughing like, man, nobody know why Ralph do what Ralph does. you see.
I have no insights on this one here, man.
Right, you see, I didn't even go to ask you. This is your teammate. You see, I didn't even come over to ask you. Like, so why did he do that? I already knew that your answer.
I don't know, man. I wish I could tell you.
Right,
I don't know.
but I mean, he still had 2. I think for this event, these are still 2 decently picked MCs compared to what some people were picking.
My thought process on Ralph's list is that if I'm going against him, I'm playing Cyclops Mono every time, trying to run him over.
So Mitch ended up using Storm, and like I said, he played Storm. So Mitch played his Luke Cage, and then he played Storm. He played Mitch's Storm. So I guess Storm, which is so bad, he played that like, man, I can't do that ever again in life, and he dropped. I mean,
I don't know. I don't know what to say.
But
I didn't even ask him. I
didn't go into detail. That one of the things, like, you just don't, like, why don't you still just keep playing? I mean, it's still versus. And I think his next round would have been against PJ, who had like Phoenix and Crystal, was to still, I think MC that he could have won with. But
man, I don't know.
Right. We'll move along to people who play at least. So normally to get out this tournament, you need 2 losses. So the only way out, there are 3 ways out this tournament: to lose 2 games, to drop, or to win the event. Only way out. So moving to the next. So this is Rob. So he had the first pick, and he took the Kid Kaiju. Pretty much, I don't think nobody would have ever picked that MC. I played him.
Nope.
I played him round 1 there, and I made a deck for it, but I still wouldn't have played it. But yeah, he had Saber too. So like I said, he played against Eagle. He had me on the ropes with Eagle. Luckily, I was able to start reaching, and then were able to finish Eagle off that game. And then he had Master Mode in against Osh. So he played Master Mode. Osh had Sabretooth, and somehow he lost that. I think he was trying to do too much. I mean, that should be real favorable for Sabretooth, right? I mean, for Master Mode.
Master Mode is my favorite MC, so I don't.
I mean,
I don't know.
Because you should have guns for days.
Yeah.
And you could get around Sabretooth Ferocious. You should be almost hitting him every turn, right?
I would think.
I mean, that may be a shock, but here and there. But I mean, I still think these 2 great draft picks, though. He got the Kid Kaiju, who probably a lot of the MCs like people pick. They knew nobody was gonna never play that MC they took. And then to follow it up with Sabretooth, I think there's 2 good picks. Like, say, if I had to grade this on on one of your Vern League type scales, I would give this a B draft. I mean, for the MC choices.
I mean, if you take Kid Kaiju, you're never going against Kid Kaiju. So whoever your opposite pick should be somebody that you can easily plan for. And I think Sabretooth is that.
Right.
So I don't know what happened in his games.
Right.
But I do think this was a solid strategy.
Yeah, I mean, this may be more of an A. Yeah, I may be wrong. I think this was a great pick, but yeah, like I say, I mean, but Sometimes matchups, sometimes it's draws. Who knows? But let's move along. Epic Scott. Now this is where we start getting questionable. So he took his spot first, and then he took 2099, which I think is a great pick for this event.
I think taking the spot is really good in this event.
Yes.
I know I didn't have the best spot, but I was able to pick going first, I think, on every one of my matchups, and I didn't get really helped out.
Right. No, like I said, that become important. But yeah, so I think, like I said, his first pick was good, taking that spot. His second pick, 2099, and then he picked Kingpin. So I had a chance to sit down and talk to Scott, like, Scott, what was the play here? What were you thinking? So his thought process, like he was there to make his picks, right? Yeah, so he had like a flow chart of who, if he draft this, he take this. You know how Scott overthink things sometimes. But he said he thought he could he'd be able to get Kingpin to discard a lot of his cards and keep him from, playing locations. But I just think this is an instance where he thought he was going to have better MC than what he got stuck with. I mean, he playing Rachel Summers and She-Hulk.
I got to defend Scott a little bit here because I played against him in the first week.
Yeah.
Boy, oh boy, this I was almost completely embarrassed in this week. I almost had to post the first week. Kingpin lost to Rachel Summers. So what he was doing was, like a few of the other people whose strategy was in the game, that I'm going to pick an obviously bad MC, and then I'm going to pick an MC that everybody's going to want to play so that I can strategize against that MC.
Right.
So Kingpin, I do think that was a little bit too ambitious because that's a tier 1 guy.
Yeah.
But when I tell you that Scott completely stacked the deck against Kingpin to the point where I couldn't even get to level 3 because I couldn't get the locations out.
Okay.
And so basically, only reason I won this game was because Scott never pulled the second Dark Phoenix to play.
Okay, the power.
He leveled up quickly, on turn 3.
Okay.
He leveled up on turn 3, and he just started hitting Kingpin in the face, but he didn't kill me fast enough before I was able to get Noel on the field. And once I got Noel on the field, he had nobody that could take Noel down, so I just took the game.
Okay.
But man, he was flipping my locations over. He played Jessica Jones 3 times, which means even if I had leveled up, I wouldn't have been able to actually take over the world.
Right.
It was very close. He got me down to my last wound. And I was very upset. Okay. I was like, I'm not about to lose like this.
Okay, so that make a little more sense here in the game. Like I said, all we get to see the results in a lot of cases. So
it was very close.
See, I know Tevin said he took over the world against Scott, but like I said, Scott said he just didn't get the draws he needed. And I know he loves She-Hulk. Well, he did at one time. A lot of people love She-Hulk when she first appeared.
Yeah, I thought She-Hulk deck was going to be great, and it wasn't.
Good from far from good. All right, let's move along to So Jason was 0-2, so the records are only for games they actually play. So he did have a bye, so technically he was like 1-2, but we only talking about the games he played. So his draft pick again, he took the Spider-Verse. I just put Spider-Noir to represent the Spider-Verse, but you could play any of those 6 MC. And then he took the Hulk. I think I know what he was trying to do, but it must didn't play out like he wanted to.
I think people underestimate the Hulk.
Right. I mean, but so first of all, I think he was trying to either do negative counter or cut off the keyword that kept the Hulk from leveling, because Bruce Banner is a keyword that make him level. So if you could turn off that keyword with like a nullifier, he can't level.
Do people not know that this is a good main or something?
I think Jason, I play him a lot. I know he's a negative counter guy, so I thought if he could keep Bruce Banner on one and negative counter him to death, because you see he played Ripley 8 and well he had Ripley 8. No, he used Ripley 8, so he used Ripley 8 against Hulk. So I think Ripley 8, who all about the negative counters.
Gotcha.
So I think that was his play. And I think he picked the Spider-Verse thinking nobody would take them, but that is also as surprising that he lost to he plays Black Suit Spider-Man and lost to the Spider-Verse team.
Wonder how that happened.
Right there, that was James. And like I said, he said James had a great deck, but we didn't really get much more information. I talked to Tevin when Tevin played James, and James I know used a couple out of time loops against his She-Hulk, but I don't know what could have been done to because you would think if you see this matchup, you would probably take Black Suit every time. Right?
Pretty much.
So
to jump back on that Hulk thing,
okay.
I know that Vern asked if people think it's not a good main. I've never taken it to a tournament, but every time I start testing, if Hulk's in there, I'll test Hulk. And it's funny because people, the first time I play Hulk, they always laugh, like they giggle about it or something.
Not
like
me. I haven't, but yeah, other people maybe.
Are you serious? And and then they just start getting punched in the face, and they're like, okay, there might be some game here. So I don't think anybody takes them seriously.
I mean, when did 8-8 start being bad on turn 1? I mean, that's what I'm confused about.
There are ways to cheat.
Right.
That's all I can say. By the time you start taking wounds, you don't mind. You're like, okay, whatever.
Right. So I think this is another one of the approaches that maybe he'll try and do the same thing where I pick one terrible MC and then everybody picked the second one who I would prep for. So I don't know, maybe when he played James, he was prepping to play Bruce Banner and get the Spider-Verse. I mean, you still wouldn't think that should make a big difference, but maybe it did. Well, we'll see. All right, so now we at Tevin. He was 1 and 2. He took the Resistance Cyclops and She-Hulk. Nobody played the Resistance Cyclops. Imagine that. Had anybody ever played him?
I have.
You didn't sound happy about that.
It's a very frustrating main character to play.
Okay.
However, I mean, if you level and you're able to stave off a wound for a turn, he hits hard, but he frustrating.
But Iceman does it better. If I'm gonna have a glass cannon, give me Iceman, huh?
Man, give me some of that Iceman. Don't get on my guy, man.
No, I used to play. I have played him a lot too.
I love that dude.
I know, but we getting off topic. So he took She-Hulk with his second pick, where everybody end up playing. So he lost with Spider-Man and Ghost Rider, and then he was able to win with Kingpin. I mean, that Spider-Man game, I know I did testing with him for that, but I think he told me he got out of time a few times, what kind of threw off his game, and it kept Spider-Man off the field somehow, and he was able to, once Spider-Man came back, he had all the big boys out there. And I didn't hear about the game with Jamar, I just know he lost it. But like I said, we She-Hulk, I said, I still, like I said, this is another, like I said, I think this was still a decent draft he had. It's just he didn't get the result he wanted. Moving along. And then we have Osh, who I think this might have been the worst draft. I mean, I haven't talked to him, but in no shape or form would this event made and be like, man, somebody gonna take Master Mode.
Master Mode is my favorite MC. Of every MC in the game, that's my favorite.
Hey, he was on one with this with
right.
me. I don't know what he was on.
Right. I mean,
And he was calling folks out too on top of it.
right. And then like I said, Jean Grey is still not half bad. I mean, you know, if you only knew Jean Grey would come and see bad, but with two options,
I talked to him. He said that he had a plan, but he did not account for how bad the MCs he was going to be playing with were.
So he fell into that category.
Yeah.
Okay, so like, oh yeah, I have a plan, but people gonna pick bad MCs too. People trying to win.
I just thought the issue that I have with this is that I pretty much know what he was planning on doing, but you can't count on having that guy every game.
Right.
That to me, that was just, and it's easy. It's also an easy problem to solve too.
Right.
But
I mean,
see the results.
Right. Yeah. I mean, like I said, yeah. Because Tim can only do so much, but they still power ups even with Tim out there. And then, like I said, if he would have played me with photo decks, I don't know what his plan would have been.
Master Mode don't care about Tim Bubba. Right. It's like a speed bump.
Right. Yeah. Right. I realized that. I don't know. But he did win. He like I said, he did play Sabretooth. We were able to get Master Mode down with Sabretooth. But I guess Crystal and Bullseye were just too far down his list of playable characters. Let's move on then. So now we at Jamal. So you made a pick for Jamal, right? Vern. I mean, I think he gave you a list, but you made his picks, right?
Yeah, I made his picks. He gave me a list. If you're looking for an explanation on Jamar's picks, I cannot give that to you.
No, like I said, we are doing a lot of speculating tonight. So, but I mean, this is still a decent draft. I mean, for what this format is.
I mean, is it a bad draft? No. Right. Do I think there's worse picks than Ripley number 8? Yes.
Okay.
I think he could have got a worse MC there, and that was his first pick.
Right. Okay. Yeah.
And I don't really know what his strategy was, to be honest.
Okay. Right. I don't know. People like. I know we'll talk about once we get to all MC, but I don't know people were like trying to put MC like I'm gonna get 2 MC that's use the same type of package. Or what people's strategy was. They were like said, these are who I think the worst MC are. These who I beat the most in my life, and I want to beat them some more. So you end up playing him, right, Earl, with Foon?
Yeah, I was Ghost Rider. I went off my plan. Well, I'll talk about my plan when it gets to me. Okay. And I just played Royal Ghost Rider against him. And I mean, I hit everything and he didn't hit. So
yeah, that happens too. So
on turn 7, I had all 3 of the Night Stalkers out. And I don't know if that's ever happened to you before, but it's bad news.
Right? Oh yeah. 2 of them feel bad. 3 of them is not it. But yeah, but he won one game with each of the MCs. So we are at the people who got prizes now. So he he's gonna eventually pick a playmat at some point in life. But you know how your people, Vern, you know how your people work. You send them a message, and it's like,
oh my, somebody come get these dudes, man.
We praying for prizes. You know what?
y'all don't know what I got to deal with, man.
But moving along, so now we at James. He was at the draft. So his first pick was Black Suit Spider-Man. This is right below so if I were looking at worst MCs to pick in this format, Master Mode would be at the top, followed by Spider-Man, followed by Kingpin. Like it just seemed like there were better options you could pick instead of picking those MCs.
This is the worst draft, man. Period.
Okay, there you go. Because Nebula is not too bad neither, right?
It's the worst draft. This is easily the worst draft.
So just look at the stats. He's a 12-12 with a gun. But but so he won both of his game with playing against Black Suit.
It worked. Can't knock it.
But as soon as he saw Nebula, like, wait, what? Because with the equipment rule change, that's a big difference. And the fact that there's a lot of small, one of a kind equipment now. I mean, once you get level, and then it can get real bad real fast. And then, of course, like I said, he using her against Rachel Summer and Cable.
I'll talk about that game when we get closer to the end.
Okay. Okay. You play, yeah. Okay, we'll wait till we get to your side. Okay, yeah. I put these sides together last night, and I was like I said, a lot of these starting to bam together. So here we have Jose. So he was on auto draft, so he did not make his pick. He picked from our list. The expert list was, I think this was a great draft from our list.
I concur.
I mean, he won one, lost one with ECMC. He had a bye, went 2-2. He got 3 Iceman cards out the deal, so I mean, I guess it was worth what he got. I played him one of those games, and yeah, we'll talk about. Well, I could talk about it now because I got full videos. So when he played Ego in the first game we played, I had Bullseye and I used Helmet Zemo to look in his hand, and he had like a Darkhold and a Val in there. Like, dude, them are Disney Plus cards. He like, you can't play these. So so I decided, like, okay, we'll just play this game. It won't count, but we'll play it just because I like having footage for my channel. But and then 5 hours later, I sent him my deck list, and like 5 hours later, just build a deck without taking the cards in, and then once he built his deck, he sent me back the list, and I made 2 more card changes up for my deck since he was looking at my list when he made his changes. And then we played it, and like I said, some people just don't have the hang. Ego's a rough MC to play if you don't really know what's going on, and especially pre-Disney Plus. But I'll talk more about that when we get there. But yeah, I mean, so what? So Cable, so he was able to. Nebula was able to be Cable, but he couldn't take Bullseye. I think that would mix. Yeah, that would miss Bullseye, and then Mastermore, of course, dominated Bullseye. I'm guessing. I didn't see the game, but I can only guess. Any input before we move along?
Nope.
Okay, moving along. PJ, yeah, so he went 2-2 with a bye. So I think because I know he a little newer player, so I think he don't know much about Phoenix, but 7 health is still 7 health. And I think that was just something he just kind of overlooked. But and then when I played him, I made a terrible play mistake. I can't believe I mean, I feel like I just got my judge card pulled the play mistake I made that game. So I put the fatal wound on Mare, but because he had Golem out, would say he can't lose the game. We left the Mare on the field. But like, well, since he can't lose, he keep the wound. Like, no, that's not how that works. I didn't realize that till I was driving back home from dating. Like, wait, that wasn't right. But I was still able to win. But yeah, that's. I would not talk about that because I want that to be forgotten, even though I recorded and there's video footage of it.
I saw it.
And it didn't dawn upon me at no point. He even put a vitality counter back on him, and I then had to wound him 2 more times. And still take out the gun. Like, what am I doing? But yeah, I think, like I said, he was able, so he did, Ghost Rider was able to take out Phoenix, so I guess he had some luck with Phoenix against Jamal Ghost Rider. And of course, he got to play Master Mole. I keep calling him Mole Man. He got Mole in his name, but he's not man. But Master Mole, he was able to take down Crystal. And yeah, 2-2. He got some cards out the deal, and we're moving along. And then we had Mix. Yes, like I said, he got a win with playing against Storm, and then like I say, he went 2-2 playing against Bullseye. I think me and you, Vern, both playing, but look like we were both his losses.
Yeah, that was a game.
Yeah, I mean, when I played him, he made a major misplay, and I never seen Miss make a huge misplay. And like I said, he of course we started the first game, and he had Disney Plus cards in his deck. I'm like, we could just play this game later because this was the second game. Like I know I can play House of X, but I didn't know Disney Plus was part of this. So he was like, okay, just give me a second. I'm gonna take the cards out, and he just put other cards in their places. Well, that was also a terrible idea. I'm like, you sure you don't want to play it again later? He's like, no, I just switch set the cards then. And then like I say, he made a big play mistake where he played Fox with a yellow on his side, but but and what was it? Well, yeah, my turn. It was his turn 7. He went second, so he played Fox with a yellow. He was going to call Dark Phoenix, but never did it. And then on the next, but he then play I Need Your Help, put a card on top of his deck. And then when it got to my turn, I played Jean Grey, who aka Dark Phoenix, who he would have got. I stole his Fox, and because I had a face up yellow, I called Captain Marvel, who he just put on top of his deck.
Wow.
So I mean, it was like that's the worst misplay I ever had seen him make. It was like, man. But you know, sometimes you gotta be lucky than better be lucky than good. But I mean, he's still 3-2, finishing fourth or second over. Not counting the judges. So I mean, still a good turnout. But he didn't even pick his MC. Patrick picked his MCs. Yeah, because I think he was at Yuka and couldn't get online. So Patrick picked the tarot. I think Patrick's big thing was when he was picking that spot on the draft board, he was trying to give Ash a good spot and pick for Mix. It got messy. Something we would have to clean up for the next draft. But we always seen things, and we got a lot of edge players in our league, so they like to test the limits. But but yeah, Miss is always a player to look out for. I mean, even playing against Eagle, I was still mindful. But like I said, once he took the Disney Plus cards out and put them cards in, I mean, he took out Quicksilver and replaced it with the 4-drop Winter Soldier. Like, I take that deal. Um, and then finally my deck. So I can tell you what my strategy was picking these two MCs. There's no speculation here. So both of these MCs can't attack till at least turn 4. Neither one of them. So like I said, no matter what MC I was given, I had time to like prep and get my line, everything in my ducks in orders, as you would say, before I made my plays. Um, the only thing besides Eagle, I thought about taking Colonist over Eagle, but I ended up sticking with Eagle. And then I think a lot of my mistakes I made, I whenever I thought somebody was going to play the mare, they would play Eagle and vice versa. But I think I thought a lot of people were gonna think like you did, Vern. Like, well, if I play the mayor, he gonna have a lot of outs to just put one wound on me, accidentally. Like, oops, I dropped the Fang Leviathan. You did. But
I thought your
I
strategy was excellent.
huh? Okay.
I I have no idea why anyone played Ego against you. That guy is terrible. Not anymore, but
Right.
he was terrible.
So, like I said, I played him in the regional and took him to 5th place. So I kind of had an idea of what he can do and what he need to do. But I know you really had to you have to finesse him a lot, and you do need things to go your way. Like I said, when I played Vern, like I said, he was my final loss. Like I said, I got ahead, but like I said, I just ran out of steam a little bit, and that gave him just enough room to come up. Also, like how he played the Eagle, where he got up to the 8-drop, then he started creating his expansions, and that just like I said, just got too much for me and got out of hand. But and then against you, or like I said, I lost y'all the two people I lost against, and then against you, you playing Mare. It's just like you had every answer for whatever I was doing that game.
Yeah, well, I think I ran a lot of discard,
Yeah,
and
yeah.
then
I w-
the loot makes the mayor a little better.
right, and I ran some discard as well. But like I grabbed what was the card I grabbed on turn 2, and then you got another one, a Black Widow. So I took I
Yeah,
took the red out your hand. So I got the training ground out your hand, and then you
well, you
played.
didn't. I didn't have a red, so you didn't take the Black Widow. As I think what it was, but then I drew the
Oh
red.
yeah, oh yeah, yeah. I seen that. Yeah, I seen your hand, and you didn't have a red. So I took something else, but then you drew the red.
Yeah, that's what it was.
We got a card that just had it. Yeah, so it was just rough. And then like I said, Black Widow 5 health. Let her down. I mean, you think 5 greater than 1, but that wasn't the case. Um, I think I talked about most of my game. I mean, yeah, against Eagle, I had people with guns. I was just shooting him in the face repeatedly. And like I said, yeah, with Mayor Wilkerson, like I said, when I play PG, I had a lot of outs just to take down the mayor. Even though I let the mayor resurrect himself, I must have thought this was an episode of Buffy. And then I killed him again. I don't know what that was about.
And like I have so many outs for the mayor, I want to play them all.
Right. so yeah, I went for it too. I think, like I said, my biggest thing was that when I count on people to play the mayor, I had all the tech because I had to be able to stop parallel dimension. If I believe you were playing the mayor, I had to put tech in to stop that. And every time I did that, people wasn't playing the mayor, and it made game a lot more closer than what I thought they should have been. But we'll move along to our runner up, and I'll let you take the mic here, Vern.
Oh boy. All right, I guess I should start with my strategy because it was actually a pretty simple strategy. I was drafting so low. I just said I'm just taking the best MC, or should I say, worst MC that's picked. I didn't want to go put myself in a position where I had to strategize a certain way. Not saying that wasn't a good strategy because obviously it was, but I just didn't want to do that. So when my pick came up and Perfect Organism was still there, I was like, how is this guy still here? Give me Perfect Organism. And then when it came back around, I said, just give me Rachel Summers. And I wasn't going to pick Rachel Summers, but when you guys said the new stuff wasn't legal, I was like, okay, she's probably still terrible. And I'll just have to bank on the person not leveling up fast, which it backfired. But let's get into that. So I think I first played. Seeing all those films on the screen is hurting my feelings right now.
Kingpin, yeah, Kingpin was your first game.
Yeah, so yeah, we already talked about Kingpin. I almost lost that. I pulled it out because he took too long to kill me, and he didn't pull Dark Phoenix. The second game was the game that I'm most proud of because I love Nebula. You guys have never seen me play Nebula, so that might come as a surprise to you. But I love this main character. So I knew that I was playing Nebula no matter what. And it's funny because that same week, Rylan was talking stuff about how I'm just basically a blunt instrument and I don't strategize. That is not true. I am a strategist. It's just that usually I strategize on how to knock you upside the head. But this time, I'm like, I got Nebula. I'm going to show that I can win without attacking at all. And that's what happened. Basically, I just played a bunch of Sentinels and Senator Kelly. I pulled Senator Kelly. I never pulled a Wakanda. I never leveled up. He just couldn't get past the Sentinels. That was game.
Okay.
I didn't even have to shoot at anybody.
Non-violence.
And so then the next game, I think, was
Mitch with Bullseye.
Was it Mitch?
No, yeah, it was Mitch, yeah, because you played Earl in the final, so it was Mitch first.
That's right. So I played against Mitch, and anybody that knows, I don't know if anybody knows this, but I love Hammer Bullseye.
I think me and you got some of the same MCs that we like, because I'm in that same camp too, like with the Iceman. I'm in that same camp.
Right. So I was just like, okay, I'm gonna go ahead and take a shot at him or Bullseye and hope he doesn't play Rachel. And he didn't play Rachel. So I'm like, cool, I can win this. Because if he played Rachel, that means he probably has a lot of power-ups to avoid getting hit. But because he played the perfect organism, I could pretty much just do whatever I wanted to. So I leveled up eventually. I mean, he was perfect organism. As bad as he is, a lot of times he makes the games close because he hits so hard. But I was able to level up and get an extra wound on him on a turn. That's how I won. And then I played against Earl. And that game was horrible. Earl just has a bunch of cloaks and daggers. I could not do anything. Like I was just sitting in that game, not able to play anything because if I played anything, the character would just die, and my negative counters meant absolutely nothing. So I just sat there and died. It was pretty embarrassing. But after that game, I was confident. I was like, okay, if I got to deal with Earl again in the finals, I'll know what I have to do. I'll just switch it up on him. More on that later. Mm-hmm. So then there was the ego game, and oh my goodness, I agonized over what to do with this situation because I knew that you would have the outs for Mayor Wilkins if I played him. I didn't want to lose like that. I'm like, if he's gonna beat me, he's just gonna beat me. I don't want to die to just some random one of a kind issue, or because I can't attack early, the game goes to all the way to turn 9 and you drop Dark Phoenix and call out plot twist, and now I lose because of that. I didn't want to do that. So I said, I'm gonna take ego and I'm just gonna try to stall the game out. The plan was to get counters on ego early so that even if you played perfect organism, I would just be able to last long. But I didn't pull the early stuff in the game. Like I had stuff for the early game and stuff for the late game. The beginning of the game, I had all my late game stuff, and then I started pulling my early game stuff later. But you didn't kill me fast enough,
right?
So you gave me the little end, and I was able to take it because I pulled enough locations to just keep flooding the field with.
And then with Groot taking the hits, it was like so the angry didn't come into play because Groot could take the wound for you.
Yes, that was very fortunate. I had some fortunate stuff happening on both sides. And so then we got Earl again, and I'm like, all right, this is what I'm gonna do. I'm just gonna try to kill this dude as fast as possible because I knew Earl was gonna play Rachel Summers again. I just need to kill him and not worry about what he's gonna try to do to stop negative counters. I didn't put anything in my deck that gives negative counters, with the exception of the pulse rifle from the company. So basically what I did is I took the strategy that I used on a couple of other MCs, Rogue, Human Torch, where I'm just trying to get big and shoot you in the face as quickly as possible. And I figured as long as Rachel Summers doesn't level up in the first few turns, by that point I'll have a power loader and I'll just be too big for him. I don't have to worry about leveling. I just got to kill you because I got flight. The first game that went exactly as I planned it. I got a power loader on him on 3, and I just kept shooting, kept flying into him, and that ended the game. The second game, Earl goes first, keeps his hand. I'm like, man, he kept his hand. He probably has at least 1 or 2 power-ups. And then he drops all 3 power-ups on level 1, on turn 1. And I'm like, if I don't get a power loader by turn 3, I'm dead. I got a power loader on turn 5, and I needed Earl to not have 2 power-ups. If he wouldn't have had those 2 power-ups, I would have been able to drop a couple of characters that would have got some counters on him, and I might have had a chance to stay alive at that point. But he had the counters, and I had no answer to it. So, yeah, that was frustrating, but that was the risk I took when I made the choice to pick Rachel Summers. So it was a good time, man. I enjoyed this tourney.
Yeah, I mean, this is definitely a fun tournament. Like I said, you gotta play a lot of MCs. Like you either don't get to play or you don't take out in public month.
Right. Because this tourney was right up my alley. I've been waiting for this tourney all year. I've played most of these mains a probably unreasonable amount of time, just because I like playing everything.
Right. So yeah, just to,
So I know this stuff.
right. So before we talk about Earl's, setup, so kind of our thinking was because this was supposed to be the event for next year, and we actually had an event slotted for this year. But then once all the new cars coming up, we like, well, some of these MCs not going to be bad no more. Once some of these new cars come out, was this totally accurate? Now that we see the new cars,
We wanted to, well, we're picking bad MCs. Make sure the card pool was familiar.
right? Right, because I mean, Cable get a lot better if you give him X-Men equipment that he could play for free. And stuff like that. I mean, they just the X-Men cards make all the X-Men characters that was drafted way better, and all the photo cards make all the photo characters way better. So, but we'll talk about the event we plan for next year. But let's go ahead and finish talking with the champ again. Congratulations. So yeah, talk about what your plan was, and if you want to talk about your game, go right ahead.
My plan was to draft these two MCs that required a negative counters. They're not terrible, so I thought they'd be there because Dave and I were picking at the very end after everybody else picked. So I wanted to try and plan for something I thought would be available. So I picked these two MCs that require negative counters, and then I was planning on just playing 12 daggers, and that should get me through. And for the most part, that worked. When I got to play the 12 daggers. But then I had to play Dave, and he picked two photo MCs, so I was a little concerned about that matchup. But I went with Mayor Wilkins and discard, and I made it through. And then, and I mean, that Vern pretty accurately described our games. So I don't know that I need to go into it, but yeah. So 12 daggers.
What
That's the plan.
What about the Ghost Rider game? You could at least enlighten us on the Ghost Rider game. You had us waiting for it. We here now.
All right. So the Ghost Rider game. I mean, I got to pick whether I went first. I actually ended up not playing 12 daggers, just 3, and I went with Loyal Ghost Rider. I had never played Ghost Rider before, so I wasn't quite sure how to build it. But I was trying to throw things together, and I just went with the Loyal one. And I mean, Jamar didn't play anything for like 3 or 4 turns. And I mean, you just start controlling the board, and then it didn't even, like, Ghost Rider was a non-factor. So I just had a board full of guys, and I beat him down. So I mean, he hibernated a couple times, so I don't know. It was just a beatdown. I flooded the board with defenders, and that's it. I mean, I don't know what else to say.
Right? Yeah. No. Okay. That's sums it up. So here we are. So that's the recap. Anybody want to put the cherry on top of this cake and say anything else?
I love you guys' tourneys. I just want to say that, because they're so unique. This was fun. I don't know if we can ever do this again.
Right. Yeah, I don't think that's like I said. That's why we moved up to the second year event instead of having it next year. Because, like you said, with what the car pool and getting that now, yeah, every MC that's even bad with their car pool could at least But we'll see down the road. Maybe Upper Deck will have another year drought or something, and then we'll fit that back in then. But so
I do have one thing to say. I would 2 things. Like I've played Rachel Summers a bunch. There were a couple formats where I was trying to make her work, and somebody else who plays her a lot is Mitch. So when he did not play Rachel Summers against you, it like blew my mind, because Mitch and I have played Rachel Summers versus Rachel Summers matchups.
That sounds terrible.
right.
My favorite memory of Rachel Summers is when Ralph played her in a Bill Phase event. That was the funniest game I've ever watched.
I remember that.
Man, I talked about him so bad.
That second game against Vern, not only did I have the 3 power-ups that last game, I played like Nighthawk on 4, and then I drew 2 cards with him, and then I got to draw 2 cards with him again, and then I played like 250 state initiative. It was ridiculous. So I drew like 8 cards in those 2 turns.
That was a rough game.
So okay, so bringing this season to the end, like I said, thank again for everybody who participated. Thankful to people who thought about participating. I mean, Patrick was there for the draft, but like I said, apparently he didn't have the time to do the event. But I mean, he was last year's champ. He didn't want to defend his title, but we have Earl here, the champ. We have the runner-up who's gonna be naming the league next year. So take your time with that.
I will.
Make sure you keep it above board, and don't reach out to any of your teammates for names for this event.
Oh no, I'm gonna talk to Ralph, and I got to get his input.
So we're gonna preview what next year may be. This is what we thought was year 2 was gonna be, but then we changed it up. So right now, this is what we got cited. So we got a code name for it. So until you get us a name, we just use a code name for it. So we calling this the 1 + 1 = 2 event. It's gonna be another double elimination tournament, but the draft gonna be a little longer. I think it's 5 rounds we got set for. Yeah. So basically, this is what it's gonna be. You're gonna pick 2 illustrated MCs per game. One MC gonna be 5 health on every level. Your second MC gonna be 6 health on every level. So the trick about this tournament is you'll have 2. So when you draft, it's gonna be a 5-round draft. You're gonna draft 2 5 health MCs. You're going to draft 2 6 health MCs, and you're going to draft the letter or slot in the bracket. So the unique thing about this tournament is going to be when you win your game, you could force a trade with your opponent for one of their MCs or their bracket letter. So that's going to be something new we're going to try, where you actually could take something from somebody and, make your team stronger or make them weaker. More details, of course, to come. So yeah, we're gonna start with doing this with just the illustrated MCs. No telling what MCs we have out by then. But more detail to come for that. I think that's the end of the slide. I
would just like to say that I already know what I'm gonna name this.
All right. I mean, like I said, we could. If you want to put it out there, if you want to send it to me first, make sure it goes through proper channel, wherever you call.
We're going to call this, You're Gonna Do Me Like That.
Okay, we definitely put that is actually the perfect name for this, too. So every time you lose a game and your opponent take your MC from there, you have to say that.
Yes.
You gonna do me like that?
Yes, sir.
All right. So they said we plan on. I think we probably gonna do this again with the photo MC probably down the road. But right now we're gonna see what it looks like with the illustrated MC. So try to keep it simple. With every MC having 5 health, every second MC having 6 health. So basically everybody playing with got 11 health on the board when they come to the table with. I think that kind of balance out things a little bit. But again, like I said, the drafting is always so interesting. I think you've been in every draft we have, right, Vern?
I have.
And Earl been there for every draft. And every draft is always interesting.
Yeah.
There had yet to be a draft that I said there like, yeah, that's what I expected.
Yeah. Well, Scott picks first, so.
Well, no. That's Rob had dethroned him for that slot. and Scott actually I know he got at least a win this week. So yeah, he may be moving on up. He may be doing the Jeffersons.
Uh-oh.
But yeah, so like I said, more of this will come probably around the beginning of next year. But we actually will probably put something out before the beginning of next year. So if people want to start testing this during a downtime right before midwinter or something, we'll figure it out like we normally do it.
Yeah,
So
we're not sure what's going to happen with the next format in Gen Con.
right. So did we want to say anything about Gen Con? I mean, we got this moment. We got people ears who may or may not be listening. What's your thought about this new at least what we know about the new incursion where it's going to be two qualifying rounds? What's your thought about that, Vern? I mean, I know you may be bringing it up on your podcast and stuff, but what's your thoughts about that?
I'm not even exactly sure how this works. So if I understand it correctly,
Okay.
you basically have two chances to get into the top, into the elimination on Sunday.
Correct. So I mean, from what I understand, obviously they haven't went into full detail yet, but Sunday will be 16 players left on Sunday. So basically, they're gonna have an event on Thursday that max out. Like, I think it cap out 32 people. The top 8 from that, whoever the top 8 is, they cannot play the next day. They already set for Sunday. But if you're not in the top 8 on Thursday, then you could play again on Friday with a totally different deck, or with the same deck. And then the top 8 from that would then be a second pile. He kind of talked about, like I said, the I think the 8s will play against each other. So like the 8 from Thursday play against each other. I think, but like I said, I'm still waiting for more details as well. But we know it's encouraging. That's the one thing we do know for sure.
Sounds interesting to me. I'm for it. Hey, that means you get 2 shots to get in.
Right.
I'm good with it.
And you get a little preview of what to expect too. That's the other cool thing.
It sounds like fun to me, but I'm really down to play anything. So
Right.
there's a rumor out there that I hate Modern though.
And then so just to let people know, if they do, just for the Buckeye League side of things, if the next format end up being Incursion, because we know Incursion is going to be the main event at Gen Con, but I don't know if that's going to be the format or not. They haven't really officially announced that. But if the next format end up being Incursion, we probably won't have a Buckeye League for that season before Gen Con. We'll just wait to start it back up for the format after that. I think that will be decided on, Earl, right?
If Incursion is a format.
Right. If Incursion is the format, because that's another, like I said, big board draft. Even if we do have a league, it's only going to be 4 weeks because we know people won't put time into getting ready for Gen Con.
And by people, we mean me.
Oh no, there's a lot more people. But I mean, we got a lot of other stuff going on. I mean, Tevin got that free for all event going on.
Yeah, I wish I could be in that, but I just don't think I can find that.
Right, I understand. Like I said, it's just a practice. I mean, he actually doing my work for me because we may have that event at the Ohio Regional, so as one of the side events, so he could help me test that. And then they got the Golden Age thing. I think Nick been posting about.
Wait. You're not just gonna skip past what you just said.
What that?
Did you say Ohio Regional?
Yeah, they already announced that on the screen. Yeah, there's a after the regional athlete Gen Con will be in Ohio.
Okay. All right.
So obviously there's they don't have the date for Texas, so clearly we don't have the dates for Ohio yet. But
we need those dates for Texas.
Right.
Right. Come on now.
Understandable.
I think the time for that has passed.
Yeah, they living on the edge. They turn double up on San Francisco. Like, oh, y'all have 5 people. I mean, we have 6. We gonna have 7. What then? I mean, people need time to get across the country. I mean, because we say the majority of the people are like the Northeast, maybe mid-North. I mean, I know there are people in the West and the South, but like I said, usually those regional, a lot of people travel to those. I mean, because Oklahoma was a lot of out-of-towners, right? Last year.
We made the draft.
Huh?
We made the draft to Oklahoma last year.
Who did?
Me, Ralph.
Oh, yeah, right, yeah. And I flew down there.
I wish we had flown because
well,
we almost didn't make it.
if y'all wouldn't have drove in, Ralph wouldn't have time to build his deck.
Man.
That's a different topic for a different. But
Well, you shouldn't have violated Ralph like that when he got to Oklahoma.
Oh. Pause.
Oh.
But we are having a regional in Ohio. Going to be an epic, Luke. So that the facts we do know, and that Upper Deck already announced that. So so like I said, yeah, we working on side events and stuff for that. And like obviously, we'll have whatever format, Upper Deck gives, that Scott store. So he definitely gonna be holding it down strong.
All right.
But once we have the dates, and like I said, for all side events, we'll have videos through the channel and stuff. We'll go into detail about that. We trying to figure out how to do a draft thing for the Friday event too. He want to incorporate like the Buckeye League stuff into the regional, like the side event. So I tell you about my idea. I haven't talked to Scott about it, but I'll tell you that off camera. So I think we're gonna get ready to bring this to the end. So yeah, let's wrap this up. Again, thank everybody for playing the event. Thank everybody for, like I said, watching my video, following along. Thank people watching. You can start playing the music, play me off. But thanks for watching this channel. Let's go to you first, Earl, because you already have good stuff to tell everybody.
I got nothing.
There you go. You got nothing. And then, Vern, do you want to pimp some of your stuff? And
well, first I want to say thanks for having me again. It's always fun to hang out with Buckeye.
All right.
You guys know who I am. We're Team Apex. We kind of been slacking lately, but I got some stuff coming out. That's all I got to say.
Sounds good. and we here for that. And let's just put this out there right now. If you go into Discord and type in there, oh man, do y'all want this information from any content creator? Do y'all want this? Yes. The answer is yes. You don't have to ask. Bert, talking to you. Man, y'all want to hear these long, but yes. Had anybody ever said no to one of those comments?
We really do need more Bert, like, for real.
I mean, like I said, the Ready Recover, like, man, do y'all want more deck profile? Yes, the answer is yes. We want all of that. But yeah, so but again, thanks again for listening. I'm gonna stop the screen, and y'all know where to find us. Oh.
I got something.
Oh, go.
You guys want to hear me come up with crazy decks?
Yes.
I know Dave already gets to hear me come up with crazy decks all the time, but maybe I should make a podcast.
Like I said, we already know the answer to that. It's yes. You don't even have to ask it. The answer is yes. Had anybody said, man, I want to do some deck profile? Nah, I'm good on that. Have you ever heard anybody say that?
Well, there's one guy that I could use less. Well, let me be quiet.
Okay.
Dave's answer was important there because he hears all my deck ideas, and if he doesn't want to hear any more, then that means nobody does.
No, you have some good idea. Like I said, you go way off the wall, but you may want to wait after incursion so people don't be prepared for some of these, because you may try it at one of these events. So we still carrying on. We're gonna end this for the people here, and we're gonna say have a good night.